It's astonishing what people will collect for money. A new investment analysis of collectibles done in 2014 showed that classic cars are vastly outperforming the art market and the top performing collectible investment in that year. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight we find out if classic custom cars, vintage garage memorabilia, yes, and even enamel signs are just an expensive hobby, or are they an investment? You would be surprised to find Wayne McCurrie, the head of Momentum Wealth, joining us this evening. But Wayne has got an interesting other side to him beyond his love of stock markets. He's also been known to restore a car or two. Willem van der Merwe and Andries van der Merwe from Kobus van der Merwe and Sons, we've got and Sons, but it would be in Sons, are with us as well. Willem van der Merwe, you here first. Pick up one of those signs, please, because I cannot believe, and you're going to be surprised by this, Wayne, that this is apparently worth something. This is an old AA sign. Where would this have hung?
Mostly around, it could have hung either on the door of where the vehicles would be itself. It could have hung on the vehicle, or it could have hung where either someone associated with the AA, maybe a towing company, maybe someone that sold policies for them, could have either had this at their offices.
Wayne, what would you give me for this?
Bruce, I actually know the value, roughly speaking, because I've got those little very small ones that you put on the front of your car.
Yes, the silver and yellow ones.
Silver and yellow ones. I've got a couple of those.
But this is worth about 8,000 rand.
Yeah, it's a good couple of thousand rand, yes.
Now, this is what, 200 and something Aspen shares?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Well, Bruce, it's not just an investment.
It's a piece of tin, yes.
No, you can look at it. It's like artwork.
Fair enough. But if I said to you, Wayne, I'd like to give you a gift today. I'm going to give you this rusty piece of tin.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it to him.
Yeah.
I could give you this rusty piece of tin. I'll give you 4 Naspers shares.
Okay.
And in 5 years' time, we'll talk again. Which would you choose?
I would choose the 4 Naspers shares.
Why?
But if I already held 4 Naspers shares, I'll take the sign.
Okay.
So, it's not, you've got to differentiate between investment and hobbies. If the hobby can be cash flow positive, i.e. make money on it over time, that's even an added bonus.
So do these things make money over time?
Yes, certainly. You could have purchased that same sign 10 years ago for 100 rand, 50 rand.
But what makes it collectible? What makes it worth anything?
People want it.
Yeah.
But why? It's a piece of tin with AA written on it.
It's vintage.
Yeah.
That one carries probably about 60 to 70 years of age. It's probably one of 10 pieces left that look like that.
Okay, but there's also a problem, because whenever there is anything collectible, there's a fake.
Yes.
You've got a fake for me. Give me a fake. Show me a fake, because this looks good. I like this one. Now, look at that one, Wayne. I mean, how much would you give me for that?
Probably less, because I know it's a fake. Now, look, there's a big market in fake signs, but most of the guys who peddle the fake signs tell you it's fake. And you can actually see it on most signs. I must say that's a reasonably good fake, but on most signs you can see it's a fake because it's not baked enamel. It's normally just painted or silk screened.
Okay. I mean, is that the clue then?
This is baked enamel,
is baked
so
enamel.
this is correct, but you can see in the coloring of the pickup, it's not as nice as they did it here. So maybe they ran out of a bit of yellow coloring here, or the overall quality that you can see is not as old. It doesn't have the maker's marking here underneath, where the one we just had says VCSA Cape Union enamel. It's got a marking that shows it's original.
So in the same way as people would buy silver, for example, at antiques fairs, they would turn over the silver. There's a silver mark which tells you where it was made, when it was made. There is that sort of clue in this collectible market too.
Look, personally, I'm a little bit cautious about buying memorabilia or even cars on purely investment value. You must have, in my view, you must have a passion, you must have a love for it, and then if it goes up in value, that's even better.
Yeah. Okay, so this isn't for mums and pops. Give me one more sign. I mean, you got some monsters back here. You can.
This is really a.
What is this?
That's a beautiful one.
This is magnificent. I must say, this is magnificent.
Have you heard of a Nash yet?
I have not ever heard of Nash. What is Nash?
It's a car.
Built cars, and they went bankrupt in 1954. They didn't go bankrupt. They joined Hudson Motor Company to form American Motor Corporation.
So is this an American sign?
American sign.
And it would have a market value?
Probably of around 15,000.
Around 15,000.
And it's double-sided, so it would have hung somewhere.
Oh, wow, okay.
Where it could be displayed on both sides.
I mean, if you've got kids who like the Disney Pixar movie Cars, they're going to love this stuff. It's absolutely
and it's not kids that obviously buy this. I've been to lots of garages where it's an art museum. In my garage, it does not look like that. But a lot of garage guys like to tile the floor and hang up the memorabilia and have all the old petrol pumps and.
And I think we just knocked $1,000 off the value.
They've survived till now, Bruce.
They have, most certainly. Okay, so then the Nash car company joined up with Hudson. Okay, we've heard of Hudson. There is another company, the Apache vehicle company. Was Apache a model of a car?
No, Apache was part of Chev.
So I looked at the picture of this car, I said, that's a Chev. And nobody said anything. Look at my great knowledge of the vehicle market. You have restored an old Chev. This looks like it comes from the 1930s or 1940s or thereabouts.
It's a 1957.
You see, I thought 57 the moment I looked at it.
But we didn't just restore it, we upgraded it a little bit.
No, but doesn't that defeat the object? Don't you have to have the authenticity of the restoration?
Each project weighs its own merit.
You've taken a 57 Chev Apache and turned it into a muscle car.
Yes, we did.
Have we got some footage of it? I think we've got some footage of it.
Yes.
Let's have a look at it so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go into a drag race with that truck, ever. How fast?
Why not?
How fast does it go?
It goes about 160 kilometers an hour.
Too fast for my blood. But the fact is, I mean, this is an old chassis, an old body. A lot of the elements of the vehicle would be original, right?
Yes, but underneath it's modern, it's drivable. The owner of the vehicle can actually drive it to work and back without fearing for his life.
But you don't want anybody to ding it, because that'll be a tragedy beyond compare. This is the sort of thing that excites you.
Well, luckily you can get insurance on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but you'd have to pay for that insurance. Wayne McCurrie, I mean, you also refurb cars. I mean, you've got an array of really interesting vehicles yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I got one or two, yeah. But, you know, to me, I enjoy the car. I've never, ever bought them for pure investment. Now, that's the big thing overseas now. I mean, there are funds you can invest into that just buy and sell motor cars for profit. So there's actually investable funds. Yeah. Now, to me, that's going to the extreme. And a lot of very rich people collect the cars. They never even sit in them. They never drive them. They just sit there and you make money out of it because the market has gone mad.
But what is the point of that?
Because someone else is going to buy it from you at a higher price.
But you've got to love it. I mean, and that's your point. Is
a lot of the intense speculation are guys who are just trying to make quite literally a fast buck.
Okay, a fast buck. They most certainly would. But what is your assessment as somebody who's quite an investment purist? When the fundamentals take a 1957 classic Chevy Apache and
I think everyone to their own. I mean, a lot of the old cars you actually can't drive them.
No.
They got terrible gearboxes, but most importantly, they normally got shocking brakes.
And so you'll find the steering column will break through your chest if you crash it. Yes.
And most people who want to drive their classics won't tell you about it, but they will do a brake upgrade. They might do a gearbox upgrade. I've done that because otherwise you will never drive them in modern day Johannesburg because your chances of having an accident, you know, if some 2015 car pulls in front of you in the highway and there's a blockage and they slam on brakes, you just cannot stop and you will hit them. So a lot of guys do the brake upgrade, but they always take the spares and put them in a box. So in case whoever wants to buy the car says it's not standard, you can say, just take this, put it back on, it's standard.
How long does it take, a project like this take? What do you get a wreck and restore it? Was it in fairly good running order when you get the vehicle?
It wasn't a fairly good running order when we got it.
Where did it come from?
It came from Polokwane.
That had been sitting on a farm somewhere for 50 years.
Yes. And but they kept it in running condition. Yeah. And it took us about 4 months from start to finish
to get it into that sort of working order.
Yeah.
Is that a full-time? I mean, is that a full-time occupation, or are you doing that in the evenings just for fun?
No, it's a full-time occupation. We've got a workshop. We've got a whole crew of guys working on them. And you know, I just want to add something to when you make an investment, how much nicer will it be if you can actually enjoy your investment? You can drive around, you can drive to work, you can drive to take your kids to school in it, and it's still going up in value every day.
Well, as long as it keeps doing that. I mean, people buy paintings and then secure them and put them in a safe somewhere. They can't even look at the blooming painting in the belief that it'll go up in value.
It's not dissimilar to the stock market. It goes up and it goes down. In the last while, specifically since the global financial crisis, all this excess money at incredibly low interest rates has definitively fueled the market. In classic cars now. Memorabilia, I'm not an expert at, but in classic cars, definitively. I mean, there was a Bugatti that was imported into Switzerland into the 1930s, and there was a problem with the paperwork and they couldn't get it into Switzerland, so the distributor just pushed it into a lake and left it there for, what's that, 80 years, 90 years.
But
and
it's a Bugatti,
It's a Bugatti. They pulled this thing out of the lake. It is unrecognizable as a car, and that sold for about £2 million because people are saying it's an artwork. So this market will crash at some stage, as all markets do, and it will recover again after that crash at some stage. Maybe it's too frothy at the moment. Who knows? I don't know. But there's a very clear market.
These guys have got a wonderful passion for things that other people are prepared to pay money for. Where do you source the materials?
All over the country. We travel thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometers every month to get access to the rarest cars in the country available, whether it be American or British built, even the British.
But you just go and sit in the Mayhem Hotel in the Kruch and wait for somebody to tell you a story.
You drive to little towns that no one's even heard of. And I think what's happened now is because everyone sits at home at Friday night and watches all the car shows, there's been also in the past year or two, there's been a sudden exponential growth happening in the car industry, especially for projects. Because this guy watches one of the shows and he decides he's got 2 sons and he wants to start building this.
Ah, that's fabulous.
And he comes to us and he says, you know, I've got 20,000 Rand. I want to buy a project. I sell him a project. And then he'll take that, even if he spends the next 5 years on that, he can create something that he built with his sons, even if it's not for investment value. It's something that he did with his family. Instead of just Friday night coming home, laying on the couch, he spends it with his family.
There we go. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for showing us the science. Thank you for the footage of the fabulous, we call it a hot rod. Has it gone from...
No, it's not
a hot rod.
No.
It's a 1950 Chevy with oomph.
With oomph.
And this makes you smile, Wayne. I mean, your day job sometimes makes you grimace, but this makes you happy.
Yeah, very much so.
There we go. That was Wayne McCurrie, the head of Momentum Wealth Portfolio Management, plus, of course, avid fan of cars, Willem van der Merwe and Andries van der Merwe from the van der Merwe Empire on the East Rand as well, with their fabulous collectibles. Thank you for watching. There'll be more Money Makers with me, Bruce Whitfield, next time. Till then, bye-bye.